Joining us now from Xavier College Prep is Principal Chris Alling. The school will be back with full classrooms, sir, and full schedule next week. Is that true?
I don't know if classrooms will be full, but classrooms will be open, and we're running a schedule we'll stick with our schedule from 8 in the morning till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, now you had brought the kids back before, then sent them home for Christmas break, I guess, and then because the pandemic had gotten so much worse, didn't bring them back, and now you're bringing them back on Monday morning. What was the science, or what was the thing for you that said, okay, now's the time to bring them back?
So let me start first with what was the sign for us to keep them home. So when the county moved into the less restrictive tier earlier in the fall, we opened up and everything was on a voluntary basis. So students were able to come back. When the county moved back into the more restrictive tier, I believe the purple tier, then we were able to stay open as long as we met certain county health benchmarks and state health benchmarks. So we did, and we were able to kind of manage any cases that we did have on campus, and we didn't have any on campus, any cases we had in our community. And through our practice of the protocols and everything that I think just about anybody with any sense is doing, we were able to do this safely.
Yeah, are you comfortable that you're going to be able to do this? Maybe not on a full scale, but certainly get some kids some opportunity, even if it's just a couple, 2-3 days a week, to get out of the house, get with their friends. Are you going to be able to do this and do it safely?
Yeah, we think so. Certainly our history in the past has shown us we've been able to do that. And again, that's the real tension is all good teachers, all good educators want to be there for kids who are suffering in ways that certainly are just as, well, they're not as apparent as perhaps the suffering and the struggles that we're seeing on TV, people who are afflicted with the disease, but trying to reach out to kids and give them a place to be and to continue their education.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about how private schools have a luxury that the public schools don't, right? You can pretty much do what you want as long as you can support it to your families and the folks that support the school. Do you think it's a good model for the public schools? Because, you know, what do you got, 500 rough kids, not rough kids, but roughly 500 kids at your school versus anywhere from, 1,500 to 3,000 or 4,000 at some of the public schools?
Yeah, certainly the scaling we're able to use and the size helps us in this regard. And that's always been a benefit of private education and private schools. We have 540 kids. Again, our model is completely voluntary. If students want to come back, they feel safe and confident, they can do so. If they don't, they can continue to engage in class in a synchronous way with their classmates in the classroom using the technology that you and I are using today. To go back to something you asked a minute ago, we watched the numbers, and that's why we chose to delay our return to in-classroom learning until after our February break. So after Christmas, we didn't come back to the classroom. We saw the spikes that everybody else saw and felt it was more prudent to keep kids home for a little bit longer.
How important do you think it is to move teachers now to the top of the list to get vaccinated?
I'm thrilled that teachers were bumped up, if you will, into that tier to be able to receive vaccinations. A lot of our teachers have gotten first, and some have even gotten second vaccinations. And that's really enhanced their confidence to feel safe coming back to the classroom and being with students.
Yeah. As we look at this past year, the long-term effects, maybe mostly negative, I would think, but maybe there's some positive to it. I don't know. Maybe we know now that we can do more stuff from home. But the long-term effects on the kids, especially the ones that were seniors last year and the ones that are juniors and seniors this year that lost this huge chunk of the high school experience in the long run, how damaging do you think it's going to be, or is it just a blip in their lives?
I don't think it will be a blip in their lives. And I think as your network ran a special, I believe, over the weekend on sort of these short-term and then projected long-term harm to kids, if you will. Again, this is not what we see on TV. You know, there are people who are struggling with the virus and with illness and with COVID, and that's very real and very significant. And that's not to say, though, that these kids aren't struggling in some other ways that we may not see as conspicuously. So I think we're wrestling with that tension. Good educators are wrestling with that, is how do we do both this and this at the same time? And I think it's important. I do think if the longer this goes on, the longer kids continue to have to sort of make this, put this together on their own. I think the harder it gets, and perhaps it becomes more than a blip. It becomes a bit more than that.
Right. All right. Principal Chris Alling, thank you as always, sir, for taking time to talk to us. And you guys are in the forefront. If you do well, hopefully the public schools will be right behind. Thank you, sir.
I hope so. Thanks, Gino.